What is up, guys? And today I'm going to show you some quick tips on how to use a controller and how to improve with it when using it on PC. Now, while the mouse and keyboard has a lot of advantages, there are many reasons why a controller could be used on PC. Your PC or monitor may be just a little bit further, or you want to play a little bit more casual. Whatever the reason, it's going to be a little bit harder to use it in PvP against mouse and keyboard users. So with that, here are some quick tips on how to improve. The first tip is actually nothing really too physical or something that has to do with movement or anything like that in game. It's actually something that can be done by anyone using a PC, and that is just to lower your video settings just by a little bit. What this does is actually increases your aim assist, thus making it a lot easier to retain targets and get kills. This is due to the fact that on PC, the higher frames per second you have, the higher aim assist you're going to have, and actually this may not be sort of intended by Bungie, but for whatever reason, it actually works quite well. If you're actually just coming from console, it may feel that it is a lot less sticky on it. However, on PC, you just feel like you're able to retain those targets a lot better. This will feel very nice, especially with snipers and really just long-range weapons in general. Also, a bit of a side note, if you are coming from console, you can now increase your FOV in the settings. This will allow you to see much more and thus catch enemies in your peripheral, and it will better the overall gaming experience. The second tip is that while movement may feel better on a controller, it is going to be a lot faster in a mouse and keyboard. Because of this, you're going to want to keep all your enemies in front of you, or especially in one lane. This is because, like I said, you will be much slower not only in movement, but also in reticle speed. This is because with a controller, you can't actually snap from target to target, and that is why you want to keep as much as you can in one target in front of you. In doing so, you're going to have to move up and down the battlefield trying to keep as much as you can in one sector. Let's assume that you do get flanked. Try to focus on one player even if you are sort of getting swarmed. It'll just become much easier, and you may have a higher chance of survival. This may be very difficult to adjust, especially if you actually came from console, or if you were just a very quick player on console. You will always be fundamentally slower, so using this tip, you may become a little bit more successful. But I also want to emphasize that you do not by any means need to play slow, just in a more controlled style. The final tip is again a little bit more tangible. It is using the right gun. When using a controller against other controllers, you may use pretty much any gun and you can still be successful with it. However, on PC, when using something like a hand cannon, you're going to find it very difficult to beat out other PC users. The reason for this is that some guns are a lot harder to use on a controller than on a mouse and keyboard. A more specific example that is not on a hand cannon is actually using something like Recluse. While Recluse is definitely a very good gun, it is going to be a lot easier to use on mouse and keyboard due to the very low recoil it offers. Because guns actually have a lower recoil on mouse and keyboard, a lot of guns are going to feel like this. They will just fundamentally be harder to use on a controller. One type of gun that I would recommend is actually pulse rifles, due to their very good range and, most importantly, really good stability. With a pulse rifle, you will not necessarily need to get as close as you may need with a hand cannon, while still offering some pretty good damage output. Another consequence of this is that you may not actually use the PC meta. For example, being when Ace of Spades was highly popular on PC, you may be using something else entirely, and maybe something that may not even be good on a mouse and keyboard. Really, the biggest thing to remember with this tip is that anything that works on PC or mouse and keyboard may not work on controller. And so with that, these 3 tips hopefully will help you use a controller on PC or against other mouse and keyboard users. Also try to remember that it may be very difficult to use a controller on PC against mouse and keyboards. However, it is by no means impossible. So once again, that is it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.